Cathay Pacific, certainly looking the most expensive when you look at the PE ratios there. Stick around. We've got Subhranshu, the Senior Director at Frost & Sullivan, joining us now live. Coming to us also from Singapore. Really good to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk about the airline numbers that have come out, because, of course, we did see a lot of weakness coming through. I mean, these airlines have really been very impressive when you look back over their profitability and you compare them with some of the other international players. Is this now coming to an end? I mean, a lot of the, I guess a lot of what they were seeing in terms of the profit numbers that we've had out this time has come from foreign exchange. I mean, also a global economic slowdown.
Absolutely. We've seen consolidated net margin dropped almost 40% from $2.7 billion last year, 2011, to close to $1.65 billion this year in 2012. So the decline of net margin for number one, economic slowdown, volatility in the industry. Number two, the increased fuel prices, which increased the operating cost of the airlines. And third one, of course, the joint ventures with Cathay Pacific, who has lost money as the cargo traffic declined, and also the premium seat price pressure.
When you're talking about the price pressures here, are they likely to continue? Because, of course, we do have, we've been talking a lot today about the difference in situations that we've got in the Eurozone. Clearly the Cyprus issue is really bringing to the forefront of mind that the situation there is far from over, but we've got improving data coming out of the States.
Yeah, price pressure will continue, as you have rightly said, but the only way to revive and continue sustaining net margin is to reduce the operating cost. To reduce the operating cost, it may be controlling the fuel prices, or maybe reducing the maintenance cost in terms of negotiating with the maintenance repair overhauling organizations, or maybe it is all about the consolidating the entire industry to a certain standard so that they can share the infrastructure across different airlines, so minimizing operating cost.
These fuel costs make up anywhere between or up to 44% of operating expenditures, at least in the case of China Southern. They've announced that they're going to be pretty much getting back into the hedging game, but none of these airlines were successful at it in 2008 and 2009. Do you think this is a cause for concern?
Absolutely. Fuel prices has gone, at least due to that increase in fuel prices, their operating cost gone at least 15%. Mm-hmm. So it's absolute challenge. But the challenge is with the Chinese fuel pricing mechanism. Right. At this moment, I think the authorities are trying to realign the fuel mechanism, pricing mechanism. They want to reduce that 22 working days cycle to 10 working days cycle, probably not restricting themselves to the 4% of fluctuations.
Which affects domestic fuel prices, but that hasn't been tinkered with in terms of jet fuel prices. I believe the time lag is still 30 days. If they start touching that, are the airlines in a beneficial position or not? Does it depend where the market really is?
Correct. I think when you talked about the hedging, nobody has been successful, and talked about changing the mechanism, and the international fuel prices are fluctuating every day and day out. So things would be difficult for airlines to manage their operating cost.
When you look at this, China Southern, the weakest set of results of the three carriers, who do you think is actually best placed now to cope with the macro conditions that are out there right now?
Yeah, macro conditions, the sentiments are growing. If you look at the IATA's forecast for the traffic, it's supposed to grow around 5.3% in 2013, and expected net margin will considerably grow in 2013 as industry is growing. With respect to Chinese airlines, the viewpoint is very clear. They have to find some way to reducing operating cost through infrastructure sharing and minimizing the operating costs to make sure the net margin comes to net
What does
expectations.
that mean? Does that mean we're going to see a lot more, or we're going to see some code shares amongst the domestic players?
They have code sharing. They are working on certain mechanism, but the only way to make airlines profitable at this moment, the scenario is very difficult at this moment. So to save the infrastructure, there are a lot of areas where they can save the infrastructure and minimizing their operating cost.
Okay, all right, we are out of time. Don, it's great to have you with us today. Thank you so much for chatting to us.
Thanks a lot.